Well, hello all. Hot, scorching day today here in California, as to be expected this time of the year. But we've got some really super important information to put out here. But I want you to see this tree. That's a rather large tree. That's a eucalyptus tree. Comes from Australia. Rather large for those trees, though they do get big when they get old. And then people cut them down because they're afraid of them, because they grow so tall. And in windstorms they really bend over, scare the hell out of people. But that's not what we're here to talk about. Let's go that direction and see if we can't find something interesting. Don't you just love doing a whole video without the record button on? Jeez. Alright, we'll try this again. We all have our complaints, don't we? So the US is going to roll back the safety standards for high-level nuclear waste. So radioactive waste that is high level at this time is now going to be reclassified as low-level waste. That way they can save a lot of money on the cleanup at 3 of these nasty sites which are polluted. The Hanford site, nuclear bomb site where they built the first nuclear bomb, where they still are storing all that nuclear waste, they're going to classify that as low-level waste, all that sludge in those tanks. That's in the state of Washington. Then Savannah River is going to be reclassified as low-level waste, along with the Idaho National Laboratory. They also are full of toxic sludges and even radioactive rods from spent fuel. They're going to be able to put this, instead of deep underground, like a mile or so underground, they're now going to be able to store it in shallow pits, unlined shallow pits, where water will percolate through and the radioactive plutonium and cesium and uranium will leak down into the water table and into the surrounding environment. Orange idiot, I know you're too stupid to figure this out. This guy's just too stupid to be stupid. But he's going to take highly radioactive waste out of what's already contaminated and put it into an uncontaminated pit somewhere in North Carolina. That just doesn't make any sense. Why don't you just bury it where it is, in a safe storage somehow, and be done with it? It's stored on site. Why contaminate a whole nother site? Dumbass orange man? Jesus, how can somebody be that stupid, really? Just so you can save $40 million on cleanup? Unbelievable. You're going to make a huge mess out of a complete out of some place that has no mess. And then what are you going to do with the old places that are already contaminated? Let's go into some of these radioactive elements that are going to be in these low-level pits. Uranium, plutonium, and other radioactive elements will be put in these pits. Now let's talk about plutonium. Plutonium-239 with a half-life of 24,000 years. He says it's already decontaminated. It was put in there less than 100 years ago, and it takes 24,000 years for a half-life. And then you got another 24,000 years to get rid of all the radiation. Can't make him any dumber than this guy. Plutonium-238, half-life of 88 years. Uranium-238, half-life of 4.5 billion years. Half-life of 4.5 billion years. This stuff will still be killing and putting out dangerous radiation when the planet is exploded by the sun. It'll still be active. Uranium-235, half-life of 700 million years. This stuff will never go away. It will pollute the groundwater wherever it is forever. And with the new rollback, there'll be no state input at all. You know, I try to keep myself contained, when you hear something like this and you read it, and it's actually going to be done. And the two parties here in the U.S., the Democrats and Republicans, silencio. Is this the party that we want? How can this happen? How can Nancy Pelosi say that impeachment isn't on the table, but putting him in jail is? Nancy dear, impeachment comes before jail with a president. Now, I've got a video down below where Robert Reich explains how to impeach a president step by step. Not that difficult. I think the Democrats can pull it off if they try. This orange person, no, not person, this orange idiot man is going to kill us all. He has deregulated the lead in the water system throughout the U.S. so that now we can all drink leaded water. Hey, lead's not really bad for you, is it, huh? Remember, lead leads to dementia. Radiation leads to cancer. Just so all the people in North Carolina knows what's coming. This is so frustrating, isn't it? But here's the worst part of it, is that there's so few people paying attention at all. You know, I got a commenter saying that he believes in ClimateGate. ClimateGate? That was a complete made-up hoax from the right-wing Alex Jones folks. And it turns out the Alex Jones folks are working for the Trump folks. Of course, well, do I need to say anything else? ClimateGate. Come on, people. Look up from your phone for 10 minutes and see what's really going on. Do your homework. Do your studying. Look at your favorite search engine and say climate change or climate heating or climate warming or disastrous climate change, whatever you want to put as a search word, and go from there. And I think it's pretty clear. You could put climate graphs and look at all the charts on it. You could put science, climate science, and find out all the details on it. More of these horrible mosquitoes. So I think it's up to us as people kind to come up with enough brain power up here to know that changing high-level radiation to low-level radiation doesn't make it so. There won't be any warnings on this radiation. It'll just be sitting there in these shallow graves. No warnings, whereas high-level radiation has warnings. Long-term warnings so that people know not to drill below and get into this high-level radiation. But reworking the regulations is so right-wing and so Republican. But you notice these Democrats, not a word. We need a new party, people. I'm not too far from 1,000 subscribers. When I do, I have some plans, and hopefully I can get there before the plans are too late. So if you wish to subscribe and help me get live streaming going, go for it. If not, don't. There's no big deal either way. I appreciate all the ups and the downs and the new subscribers, even the people that are just learning. You're welcome here, really. If you have an open mind, go for it. And until next time.